Hi, I'm going to share some information with you about a very important day in the life of the church, which is called Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is the Sunday before Easter, and it marks the entry into the Holy Week and recalls to our minds the entry Jesus made into Jerusalem, where he would suffer and die. Ironically, the crowds gathered to cheer him and his disciples as he came into the city as a king. But in just a few days, they would jeer him as a thief as he hung from the cross. The name of this Sunday, of course, derives from the prolific use of palm fronds, which were waved by the crowds as Jesus made his entry into the city. The practice of gathering the congregation outside the church for the blessing of the palms, and then forming a procession into the church, all the while singing various psalms, originated in Jerusalem itself. All this occurred in the reign of Constantine, the first emperor to become Christian. In 313 AD, Constantine made it legal to be a Christian, and soon thereafter his mother came to the Holy Land to buy land and build churches to commemorate and preserve the holy sites associated with Jesus. Christians were now free not only to worship their Lord in the city, but to relive some of the dramatic moments of his life in public. Christian pilgrims from all over the ancient world came to Jerusalem to celebrate Easter, just as many people do today. And they not only partook of the dramatic events enacted during Holy Week, but carried these traditions to their home cities. Palm Sunday soon became a favorite observance in far-flung places, even to towns which had never seen a palm tree. In the Middle Ages, people loved pageantry and processions. These could become quite elaborate for Palm Sunday. In some places, the bishop even rode on a donkey in the procession. At the Reformation, however, much of this pageantry simply disappeared. The Protestants were suspicious of the blessing of things, and so the blessing of the palms was removed, and today the blessing of the palms is being restored even in many of the Protestant churches as a part of the drama of living the life of Christ, or living as disciples of Christ. The thing that has endured through all the ages has been the reading of the whole account of the events of Jesus' trial, his suffering, and his death. We call this the Passion. So in some places, Palm Sunday is called the Passion Sunday. Each year, this account is read from the Gospels, and in many places, various parts are assigned to members of the congregation. The roles of Peter and Caiaphas and Judas and even Jesus himself. The congregation as a whole is sometimes called to respond to the reading and play the part of the crowds. When Jesus comes to Golgotha, that is the mountain on which he was crucified, the whole congregation kneels and remains in silence for a period of time, just to let it sink in how Jesus suffered for us and for our salvation. In many places, a sermon does not follow the Passion story, the gospel, because no words can make it more vivid, and no words can bring it home to us in a more dramatic way. The whole observance of Palm Sunday can be quite moving. Through word and symbol, we can move through one of the most significant moments in world and spiritual history. Sadly, we won't be doing that for the first time in many hundreds of years in this country, but we can do it in our hearts and in our minds and in our prayers. Let us observe Palm Sunday as the most important day for our Lord and for our souls.